So in this episode of Jersey Shore, Family Vacation Poconos, it starts off with Dina looking for a place for the next family vacation, and she decides to look in the Poconos. She calls several places. She finds a place that she feels is perfect for the families, and she spreads the word that the next family vacation will be in the Poconos. Pauly is in Las Vegas when he gets the news that the next trip is in the Poconos, and he says, "What? You mean I have to leave this wonderful sun and plan a trip in the cold weather?" And Dina says, "Yep." Then when she notifies Angelina, Angelina hasn't yet reunited with Chris, and she says, well, she's not sure if she's going to invite Chris, but she'll let the gang know whether Chris is coming or not. So Angelina's at her house, and she's nervous because Chris, who's been away for a month living with his parents, is now coming back to the house, and she's nervous. She says she doesn't want to start a fight. She wants to be very nice when he comes in, and he finally appears, and she's in shock because Chris has grown a beard. He looks very different. He looks like he's been to getting some man grooming done, and maybe has been seen by a professional makeup artist or somebody, because he's looking quite hot when he comes through the door, in my opinion. I'm just throwing that in there. And Angelina is really surprised at how Chris looks, how he's changed his appearance. Plus, Chris says he's been working out, and he's gotten his muscles bigger. Angelina's turned on. She says she thinks that looks really hot. And I think Chris has gone a little bit Hollywood, and he's now competing with the other guys in the house because they're all very muscular. They're really into fitness. They're into getting their skin tan and into keeping a rather fashionable look. And I think Chris has been bitten by the bug, and he really has upped his game. So Angelina is very impressed. She thinks he looks hot. After saying nice things about Chris, Angelina, of course, comes up a bit hostile and says, "Are you planning to stay? You have one big bag. You didn't tell me you were going to stay." And she says, "Well, I just need to tell you, I took all the drawers in the bedroom for me." So she's letting Chris know he has lost his face. But this really isn't a good way to start off, because after all, Angelina really wanted Chris back. Now he's back, and she's making negative comments which are just going to irritate Chris in the long run. Dina, Jenny, and Pauly D are still worried about the videos that they have seen about Angelina visiting somebody in her old neighborhood, and they feel that that would be really bad for Angelina if these videos ever got out to a place such as TMZ. So they want to know what they're going to do when they talk to Angelina, and they have to bring out the discussion of the videos. Jenny says she's afraid about talking to Angelina about the photos during their trip to the Poconos, because she doesn't want to ruin the whole trip if Angelina spirals out. And then, of course, Chris is going to be there, and how can they talk to Angelina about the photos without involving Chris? And then Dina says, well, they don't want to hold on to the photos for too long because they don't know what this hairdresser girl is going to do with the photos. What are her intentions? So they feel they need to do something and just can't sit on it for an extended period of time. In the meantime, Angelina talks to Chris and says, she felt very lonely and abandoned when he left the house and went to his mother's. She confronts him that she knows he was out every night with people, and that included other girls. Chris denies he was out every night, and Angelina insists he was out every night. And then she says the abandonment that she felt when Chris left was reminding her of what happened to her as a child when her father left her and she was abandoned. So she was expressing this was bringing out bad feelings from her childhood. Chris says he's sorry that Angelina felt abandoned and that they need to build up a better way of communicating. Angelina admits they fight a lot, they say negative things about each other, and that was the wrong way to have their marriage, and that they need to stop doing those bad things and have better communication, more positive communication. And now they need to find out how they're going to move back into the marriage. Chris says he'll move back into the house and he'll take the bedroom and Angelina can sleep on the couch. But true to form, Angelina and Chris go right back at it when Angelina says, well, if you must know, I had to sleep on the couch because there was no TV in the bedroom because you took the TV with you when you went to your mother's. Chris says, well, that was my TV. She says, well, where's the TV? You should have brought it back when you came back today. And he says, well, go get the TV. And so after all of this, Angelina is now fighting over a TV. A TV that probably she could have gotten easily replaced at Walmart or any store, but now they're arguing within minutes about a TV. In the meantime, we see Mike and Lauren going for her obstetric appointment, and Mike can't come in because of COVID, so he sits in the car, and she's going to go in and get her routine ultrasounds, check and see how the baby's doing. And Mike says he has a few ideas of what he'll do while he's waiting for Lauren in the car until she comes out from her appointment. So, kind of coincidentally, the obstetric appointment is right next to a Burger King. Mike says while the packs away the mouse will play, he goes over to the Burger King, he orders a big burger with extra cheese and everything, and he prepares to eat. He even has a little table in the car so he can take it out and have a sit-down snack right next to the car. Then he gets rid of all the evidence, throws away the trash, folds up the table, puts it back in the car, and when Lauren comes out, she says, it smells like Burger King. Then we see Snooki meet up with Angelina so that they can mend their old fat and start off fresh for the new Jersey Shore trip. And Snooki comes out with a full apology. She says she didn't mean to ruin the wedding. She said she's not that type of person. She would never do anything to ruin a person's wedding or special day. And she was very sorry for the speeches, and she thought that they would be taken as jokes, but when they weren't, it really hurt her that she was seen as a person who was trying to ruin the wedding when that was not her plan or intention at all. Angelina says, yeah, I'm sorry too. I could have waited a day or two after the wedding and talked about it, but I'm sorry I reacted that way at the wedding. And so they forgive each other, and they're drinking probably a little bit too much, but it is notable that both of these ladies came in chauffeured cars, so they're not driving after this episode of drinking. It's not like the old days when they would walk around drunk, and Snooki would sometimes fall, so they are not going to get DUIs for drinking excessively on this episode. Angelina tells Snooki that Chris is back in the house and they're going to work things out and that they're going to therapy. She says, but they haven't had sex in a long time because they're always arguing, and that takes them out of the mood. So either he's out of the mood because they've been arguing, or she's out of the mood because they're arguing, and they keep going back and forth, and so it ends up with long periods when they don't have any romantic interactions. And she has Snooki. She says, aren't there times that you don't want to have romantic sex with your husband? And Snooki says, nope, she's always happy to be with her husband, Gianni. In the meantime, Snooki is talking to Angelina about the photos that were taken of Angelina going to the house of some guy in her old neighborhood, and Angelina says she's just living her life. She doesn't want other people to be involved. She says they need to stay out of her marriage, and whatever she's doing is her own business, basically. And then Snooki and Angelina are kind of laughing at the situation because Angelina makes it seem like nothing really is going on. But the other old roommates are concerned. They feel like Snooki has now exposed that all of these people are talking behind Angelina's back about her marriage to Chris, and they feel that that's going to be a big problem when they go on the vacation. So Angelina asks Chris if he wants to go to the Poconos with the group, and he says sure, he'll go, but he wants to make sure that they know that he and Angelina are working on their marriage together and that they don't want interference with the whole group, and they want the group to respect their privacy. Angelina agrees. Angelina is concerned. Are they going to bring up all of this stuff during the trip to the Poconos? Are they going to bring up pictures? Are they going to talk about the chicken tenders on the ground and all the other rumors that are out there? She's concerned about what's going to happen at the Poconos when all of the people get together and start talking about the pictures. Dina, who arranged the trip, said she's not going to be able to get to the Poconos on the arranged date because her husband Chris is working late, so she's going to get there the next day. Mike and Lauren are reminiscing because when they were young, they went to the Poconos. That was their first big date together, and I think they went with her family. I'm not exactly sure who all went on that trip, and they went up to the Poconos. So it's a fond memory for them, and they're looking forward to the Poconos trip. Ronnie says he's happy for the trip to the Poconos because he wants Sapphire, his newest flame, to meet all of the other members of the cast, and they're going to meet and see what a great person she is and how lucky Ronnie is to have Sapphire in his life. Meanwhile, the cast asked, why do they call this the Poconos? Well, all of Pennsylvania is full of places named after Indian tribes or Indian-related names, and the Poconos is one of them. And as I looked it up, the Poconos was part of the Indian removal policy that was in place when the Europeans came to this new land, and they had to get rid of the Indians. They either had to kill them off or move them westward so that the Europeans could colonize the areas and, basically take over, raise their families and so forth. So the Poconos name stayed, and I think it means stream between two mountains. I looked it up. And you'll see that throughout Pennsylvania, many names after Indians or Indian terms. So everybody's arriving at the Poconos resort. They're enjoying each other. They're greeting each other. Then they begin talking about Angelina's story with what's going on with her marriage with Chris, and they wonder how they should handle it. I think it was Vinny who said maybe they should hold a hearing, like a court, and talk about it and then have a decision. To me, that sounds like a very bad idea. And then Mike shows up with his full board, his storyboard of what he thinks is going on, his investigation of Angelina's marriage with Chris. And I think that's a good way to put a negative spin on what's supposed to be a very nice vacation. But that's probably the storyline for this vacation, because they don't want to have all fun. They want to have some controversy. Actually, it's pretty surprising that only Mike and Lauren had childhood or youth memories of the Poconos. It's very popular, and it's near Philadelphia. It's near New Jersey, where they're from. But anyway, they get to experience the Poconos now, and everybody's coming. And the episode pretty much ends with waiting for Angelina and Chris, and waiting for Jenny and Zach.